Hello, everybody, and welcome to Unveiling Beauty. My name is Ammon Carver. I am thrilled to be your host for today's show. If you've never seen Unveiling Beauty before, it is a show for salon professionals or beauty professionals, but also for consumers that we talk about everything regarding beauty. So if you're interested in beauty at all, this is the show for you. I'm super excited today because we have a really exciting episode planned for you, but I wanted to talk a little bit about, we just came off of Halloween weekend, and it was an interesting one because this year has been so different, right? So I want to know from you guys what you did this Halloween that made it a little special. I myself stayed home with Jeff, and we just had our own little special Halloween, like virtual party with some friends. But I will share with you, my sister, she's so creative. I love her. She created this very cool, socially distant way of distributing Halloween candy to the kids that would come by. So you could see, like, getting creative, making the best in a world where things are just a little bit different so that the spirit and the energy of the holiday season, whether it's Halloween all the way through Christmas, doesn't get lost is super important. I love my sister. She's always pushing it to the next level and just making us all look bad because we're not as creative as she is. But what a fun way to celebrate the holiday, and happy Halloween to everyone. I hope it was great with you guys. So remember, before we go into the show, a couple of things. Unveiling Beauty is a two-part show. We have Monday nights where we're going to be episodes with the top industry pros, but then tomorrow night we'll be doing an after the show where you guys should be commenting today. And for those of you who comment the most, then we're going to have a giveaway and a prize, and we'll be able to recap on the after show on Instagram tomorrow night. So make sure throughout the show that you're engaging, asking lots of questions, because we've got some really cool prizes set up for you guys. Let's get into the topic today. So the show today is called Radiant Reds. Now, I'm obsessed with the show-stopping redhead. Love, love, love redheads. I love when you're able to create a multi-dimensional red, and there's nothing better, even when I'm doing shows or shoots or anytime that I'm working with a client, there's nothing more satisfying than a redhead that really just like captivates everybody's attention when they walk into the room. You can see some examples of reds that I've worked on, that the pro team has worked on, but I want to hear from two of the industry's top colorists about the ways that they think we can achieve the best reds and maintain the best reds. So industry tips from two of the best. They're coming up right now. Radiant Reds. I want to bring to the show two special people. First up is Miss Sonya Dove. She's on our pro team. You guys have seen her before. She works with us on the Ulta Beauty Pro team, but she's also the well-loved global creative artist. So welcome, Miss Sonya Dove. How are you?
Good morning. Thank you.
And then I have been obsessed with Mr. Colin Caruso for such a long time, and I've been begging for him to come on the show. So finally, I twisted his arm hard enough to come on the show and join us. Colin is the artistic director of color for John Paul Mitchell Systems, and he is the owner and stylist at Salon Caru. How do you say it?
Caru.
Got it. Hey, thank you for joining us, dude. I was so excited that you said yes to coming on the show. You're amazing.
Well, it's absolutely my pleasure, brother. And I spent a lot of time in Ulta, so I'm really happy to be spending time with you guys. You're an inspirational dude too, my man. I love following you. I love getting to know you through digital assets, and I'm happy to be here, man. Really happy to be here.
Well, listen, we couldn't have a better like cast for today's topic. You guys are both like leading the charge in the industry. For any of you out there who aren't necessarily connected to the professional industry, these are like the color gods that we have on the show today. So pay attention. They're going to give you some great tips. What I want to do is I'm just going to ask each one of you what you plan on sharing with us about Red State. So Sonya, why don't you go first? What are you planning on sharing with our guests or with our viewers today?
Yes, Ammon. So I wanted to share techniques, very, very easy. When I do reds, I like to combine different depths of reds and different tones of reds. So this is my starting point, which I'm going to be demonstrating today. And this is my finished end results. And as I move the hair, you can see we're seeing some reds in here. We're seeing some copper. So we've got some cool reds, some copper reds, and some red reds. So I'm going to be using 3 shades of red: an orange red, a blue red, and a red red. And I'm going to start off with my deepest shade first and apply that to the new growth. So I'm just going to go in, I've already got it mixed up here. And when I say apply it to the new growth, I really want it to look intentional. I don't like to apply it to about an inch out. It's at least 2 inches. I want it to look like a shadow, a root shadow, not looking like a regrowth needs to be done. So this is my darkest level. It's a level 6. It's a level 6 red violet. So this is my burgundy deep red. And I'm going to just start off with applying that all over the mannequin, the lovely new model of 2020. Sometimes when I get to do my clients in the salon and they start to speak to me, I almost jump out of my skin because I've spent so many months doing these beautiful, let's call them mannequins. So this lady,
mannequins. You know what, Sonya, I have so many questions that I want to make sure that I come back to, because you talked about using blue and red and you're already into your technique, and there's so many little things that we use, phrases that we use as salon pros that I'm going to come and ask you about. But as you start working, I want to make sure that so that Colin can talk to us and be also equally working while he's talking. You carry on. Now, Colin, talk to us about what you're planning on showing today. What do you want to share with our guests?
Thanks, brother. I'm actually doing something quite similar. It's really all about creating movement within the redheads that we have in through here. So I'm going to play off of an 8RO. And I'm going to play off of a 6R. So only using 2 tones, but really creating dimension and movement throughout. And my main goal is to draw a little more attention around the face. But I also want to encourage all the clients, all that are watching this, all the guests that are coming to the salons, try red, man. This was a blonde, and we're going to use demi-permanent on this just to give you guys a little way to change your hair color. Have fun. We are in the middle of COVID. If you ever wanted to try something with your hair as a guest or as a client, now's the time. So I encourage you guys to try that red you always wanted to try.
Cool, buddy. So I love what you said. Go ahead and get started with what you're doing. And I love that you guys have a similar thread going on. But I'm going to ask you really quickly, when you say 8RO, 6RO, for somebody who doesn't know color, what does that even mean? Like, give us the translated version for a consumer, maybe.
Yeah, absolutely. So to me, it's all about depth, right? So level 8, hair color works in levels, a degree of lightness or darkness. So 1 being blue-black, right? 10 being lightest blonde. You're going to pick your basic level on that scale. So I'm going in technically with blonde level reds. Now I know it's hard to hear that, blonde and red in the same mix, but they're lighter blondes. And what I'm working is off of the tonal deposits. So an RO would be more of a red-orange at a level 8. And that's going to be a brighter, more coppery feel. And that 6 level R is deeper, but also that red tone is going to provide a little more depth. So you're going to actually notice that RO pop. So it's providing lightness where you want to draw the eye, where you want people to look, and it's providing depth around it to get them to look in the key areas. So your colorist will be able to do that for you. But the main thing you want to do as a client is find pictures, right? See colors that you like. Everybody sees colors differently. And that's the key. Show your hairdresser what level red, what colors you like, and the hairdresser will be able to decipher from there.
That's a good tip. Excellent tip. Like, you don't need to worry about memorizing the numbers that he just memorized out there. Like the hair professionals, they know what they're talking about. They're going to steal those formulas, but a picture is worth 1,000 techniques to a hairstylist, I suppose. Right. So Sonya, talk to us.
And saving a lot of time.
Exactly. I agree. Sonya, talk to us a little about what you're doing. I know that you started with a deeper base, but talk to me a little bit about that idea that you had about adding blue to the base and the technique that you're actually doing with this graduated tone.
Yes, so I've just finished applying my level 6 at the base. So it is 6/46. I'm weller Colliston Perfect. And to translate that into other manufacturers' formulas, it's a level 6 red violet. But what I do is we have a series of mixed tones that we can add to our permanent color. And I always add in some fuchsia. So it's a 0/65, but it's fuchsia. So pink to that blue red. What happens is when you have that underlying pigment of the gold and orange in the hair, it counteracts it from being too warm and keeps it that lovely, let's say, Cabernet Merlot color. So I'm going to apply 2 more colors now, a level 7 red, and then a level 8 copper, and alternate all 3 colors just by using my hands organically throughout the head.
I love it. I love it so much. Sonya, what I love about what you're talking about, and it's relating so well to the way I know what Colin is already talking about, is the thing that we're seeing right now with reds is neither one of you is picking just one color and applying it all over, right? There is dimension, even if the overall effect has an illusion of an all over color. Dimension and depth into your red tones is important. So when you hold up those pictures and you show your stylist is still thinking multiple formulas, and you guys are both talking about that right now. Colin, my man, you do a technique, or you use a visual that really kind of was interesting to me, and I would love for us to if you just talk and explain about it a little bit, where you use eggs to kind of showcase the difference. And I'm just going to leave it and set it up that way, because I think a lot of people will go, eggs, what are you talking about? So talk to us a little about your eggs to show the different levels of lift with reds.
Absolutely. So a couple years ago, my son, I have 3 kids, they're all great. My youngest son we were dyeing Easter eggs, and my youngest son got upset because the older kids took all the white Easter eggs, dyed them, and he had no white Easter eggs left. So all he had was the brown Easter eggs left in the refrigerator. And of course, when you're like 8 years old, you don't want to dye the brown Easter eggs. So he was all excited, to even have the opportunity to dye them, but he was upset how they were going to turn out. The funny thing is, the brown eggs actually came out prettier than the white eggs. And it was an interesting thing for me. I instantly related it right back to hair color, right? I have swatches where I can show you guys the same thing. Here's your white egg, right? Those white eggs take the colors lighter and brighter, but the brown egg actually took that color deeper.
There you go. Yeah.
And what that is, it's that underlying pigment that is interacting. So one of the biggest mistakes a lot of colorists make, and this is a pro tip, is you overlift with reds. And you can do that with lightener, or you can do that with developer. And the main thing is, if you want intensity as a client, if you have that client that really wants that really bright red, lift. Remove as much pigment as you can, because it's going to be brighter. But if you take that same, and these are all the same colors run over the same swatches. If you take that same red and you leave a little base underneath, you're going to have some depth. So the Easter egg really helped drive that home. And from now on, our family, the Caruso family, has been dyeing brown Easter eggs every year since that catastrophe happened.
What a good lesson for everybody at home too. All the parents are like, oh, okay. Now they're going to buy those nice brown Easter eggs, all because of that Colin Caruso tip here on Unveiling Beauty. From beauty to Easter eggs. So talk to us about, are you doing anything with your technique right now? I see that you've applied through the back. Catch us up with what you've been doing with work-wise so we can see the technique that you're working with.
Yeah, absolutely. This technique, guys, I've been using for a decade plus. It's a great technique. So what I did is I just took a circle out of the top, right? I'm going to keep all this pretty much one color, and all the back is going to be my 6R. So I'm saving a lot of time by really kind of simplifying those 2 top sections. If you ever have a Lego person, you snap the head on, you snap the hair on, you snap the hat on. That's how I look at color. I look at it in 3s down, not necessarily straight on. So I have this beautiful top section that's going to act as a veil. What I did in through here then is I took these little rays, these little triangles, and you can see them all the way throughout. Just came in and took little dips all the way throughout. I'm going to actually put my lightest color in the middle here. So when this all starts to live, you guys can see the end result. What you have is you have that beautiful red kind of vibrancy in through the top, but you can see those pops of color shifting. So when the guest moves their hair, you can see those little orange flecks coming through, that coppery tone coming through. And then again, around the hairline, we kept that all pretty much lighter. So it's all about light reflection and color placement. This is quick. It works with any color. It doesn't have to be just reds. It's a fast way to really kind of get a maximum impact in a quick time. And we all know when we're behind the chair, you need that sometimes, right?
Absolutely. Do me one favor, everybody. Hold up that sectioning again real quick, nice and close to the camera, so those beauty pros out there can see where you're placing those little Lego sections, as you call them.
So here's your rounded top.
Yeah.
Right? And then they're just little triangles that you guys can just kind of come around and pop out, just like a sun. Think about it. Here's your sun, draw little triangles around it. And it's up to you guys. As you're sectioning them out, the bigger the section, the more light you'll put in, the smaller the section, the more depth you'll have.
Awesome. All right, Sonya. Talk to us a little about what you're doing. Catch us up with what you're doing. Colin, you keep working feverish over there, my man. It's looking cool. So Sonya, you've already almost worked through that entire section. It's very quick technique and it's going to add the dimension. So talk to us about what you're doing. And then I want to know what you were talking about a little bit about those blue tones that you sometimes use in the reds.
Yes, Ammon, I'm working my way through now. What I've done is you can see, I'm just using my hands. This is a no foil technique. It's called organic twisting. And it's very quick and easy. I just use my finger, pick up a big section and not worry where that section lies. But I always start from the top, and then from the root area, I apply either color 1, 2, and 3. So to recap, the base is a level 6, a 6 burgundy. Then I have another shade, a level 7 red. Now I was talking about adding intensifiers into my formulas. With my level 7 red, I'm using the 7/7/4/4, which is a depth of a 7 red. I'm adding in some extra red booster because I'm using 30 volume with that. Then my lightest shade is a copper, and you can see as it's oxidizing here, this is my copper shade, and I'm using a level 8 red, 8/3/4, a level 8 gold red, and that is also with 30 volume. And I'm adding in some orange booster. So each formula, whether it's the blue red, the red, or the orange red, all have extra boosters in to stop that underlying yellow gold that comes out of the natural hair.
That makes a lot of sense. Now, I have a very important question for both of you, because I think this is one that is like, it's that we'll all have that client that comes in and they can imagine themselves, or they want to imagine themselves as a redhead, but they've never tried it, and they need a professional to tell them whether it's a good idea for them to be a redhead or not. And so I'm going to have Colin answer first. Like, what are your rules of thumb if somebody comes in that's never been a redhead before and they're thinking they may want to be a redhead? When do you say, yeah, that's going to be great on you? And when do you say, maybe not for you?
First of all, can you be a redhead? Redheads are more of a personality trait, in my opinion. It's more of a confidence. I think anyone looks great as a redhead, with the exception of a couple skin tones. You really have to find what works. But anyone can have red in their hair too. Maybe you're not an all over red, but it's up to your colorist to really make your dream come true and to find places to put it. Maybe you don't need red around your face. Anybody can have red though in their hair, a form of red. I always believe that. But my main thing to my clients is, do you have the confidence to be a redhead? It's an attitude, it's a personality. Redheads definitely, when they walk in, they're noticed. And that's really kind of it. Do you want to be noticed? Do you want to put yourself out there? If you do, go red. That's my main thing. I love red personally, man. I'm kind of partial to it a little bit, my own hair color. But I really think it's more of a personality than anything. And then if you talk to your colorist, they'll find a way to make you your perfect shade of red.
Very, very cool. So I can see your technique is coming into play. Again, another one that's time and fast, like just Sonya said, like you come in, get this transition. And I totally agree with you. Red is an attitude, right? Red is a lifestyle. Speaking of which, Miss Red Hair herself right now. So Sonya, how would you, we've actually talked about this recently, right, Sonya? Because Sonya, you used to be a brunette for a long time, a brunette. And I mean this in the nicest way, but you used to have like longer, almost kind of newscaster hair. And then, but now you have this red hair and it's like you turn heads and it draws attention. And so what is your advice to guests who are wondering whether or not that's something that they want to own?
Actually, I love what Colin said. I really do. And I play part to that because I cannot imagine myself newscaster brown again. I love it. So it is attitude. It makes me feel so vibrant and so sort of game-changing for people. But something I'd like to add on is it's also important skin tone, eye color, and also maintenance. Let's talk about maintenance because some people want to be a redhead. They haven't got the skin tone or eye color, but guess what? They only want to come in twice a year to the salon. All that ain't going to happen if you want to be a redhead. So I like to play those other questions in there in the consultation. And yes, it's fun to be red. I mean, in the winter as well, especially. And then, as Colin mentioned, there's so many different shades of red. It doesn't have to be screaming red. It could be a soft, subtle cognac or beautiful cinnamon red. So there's many, many different ways someone can be a redhead. It's almost for everybody, to be honest.
You're so right. So, and I love what you said about the maintenance part of it, because that's the thing with a lot of colors. Like, yes, I can achieve this for you as a salon professional, but are you open and willing to do what it takes to keep it looking good, right? That's not just reds. That's kind of like a general rule of thumb with all colors. So on that note, Sonya, what are the products, aside from making sure they come into the salon to get their color retouched, they need to be taken care of at home, right? So what do you recommend that they use at home to make sure that their reds stay looking good between salon visits?
Well, when I'm in the salon and I do any redheads, are not, and I really stress this, they are not allowed to be leaving the salon, the Ulta salon in Santa Monica, without the professional products. I recommend to them Wella Color Brilliant for hair types that are needing the colors to be staying, whether they're reds or brunettes. And then if their hair is on the drier side, naturally drier, and they have color, I suggest Color Motion Plus. And we carry all of those. But absolutely, they are not leaving without any stay-at-home care products from me, I'm afraid.
Well, I think that's a smart idea, and that's a great way to make sure that your clients are looking fantastic. And then nobody wants to have that like faded red look. They want it to look fantastic all the way through, whether you're wearing it yourself or you're the stylist that's looking at your client walking around with red hair color that's just not on point. Colin, recap what you've been doing, and then I want to hear your tips on maintenance and what you think is some things that people at home should be doing to make sure that their reds are where they need to be and where they need to stay.
Absolutely. So here's the finished look. And you can see the top circle section. Yep. This is our 6R matched in with that bottom section that we did. You can see the depth popping through there in that 6R. Here's our little raise, our little triangle section, 6R at the root with our 8RO down in the ends. And then you guys can see that little brighter little sectioning around the face. Here's the end result right here. You guys can see, kind of lived in, really beautiful. Again, imagine this is the best part about hair color. I say this to every client out there. We use Crema XG, which is a demi-permanent color. I highly suggest if you're going from blonde to red or trying reds, definitely use demi. That's a pro tip and a consumer tip. Because it enables you to kind of wash your hair out and go back to blonde easier. So always think about your next step, even if you're trying to try something. But that's one tip. But you guys can see this is 20 minutes. Think about, that's why I love hair color so much. 20-minute transition, no gym, no plastic surgery, nothing you can get done in 20 minutes. That's going to have such a drastic impact on your life. Gym takes longer than 20 minutes. It's great, but you can change the way you see things in this era. Again, we're all not in the office as much. Try something, do something. The next best thing, what we're going to talk about today is our tea tree. If you guys ever work with tea tree, this is one of the #1 selling products in the world. It gives you the best tingle you're ever going to feel. You wash it. It's an experience in your shower, but now it's color safe as well. So I love that so much. So you guys can try that. You can get that tingle, but you really do have to use something that's lower on the pH scale to keep your color. Otherwise, you guys are going to invest all this money in your hair color. You're going to wash it down the drain. So whatever product you're using, make sure you're choosing something that's color safe, typically sulfate free on those lines. And it's really making sure that your color is lasting. You're not protecting your investment, basically. That's my biggest suggestion.
Colin, I think wise words, well said. You don't want to waste that money. Nobody wants to waste that money using the right products to maintain it. I want to thank you both for the efficient techniques, for the pro techniques, for your passion, your professionalism, and for the tips for people to be able to maintain their look and know whether or not they have what it takes to be a radiant red out in the world out there, just like Miss Sonya Dove is these days. Well, both of you now, actually. It's so funny that we both are radiant reds on the show right now. That was not actually planned at all.
Hey, can I say one more thing, Amin, please, real quick?
Yeah, of course.
I would love to thank you, Sonya. I would love to thank you, Sonya, because you have played such a huge role in me as a young colorist. I learned so much from you, and it's an honor to be here with you today. Thank you so much.
Oh my gosh, I love you for saying that. That's so sweet. Thank you. Thank you.
Aw, lots of love. Redheaded love all around. Now I wish I had red hair to join the party. Thank you guys so much. It's been a pleasure having you guys on the show. We are going to move on to the next part of the show that I love. We usually have a stylist spotlight in this portion of the show, but I'm going to make it about an organization spotlight today because we just wrapped up Breast Cancer Awareness Month, and we talked about it a few weeks ago. We had a special guest on. She's a senior vice president of our stores. Her name is Carrie Thompson-Yen, and talked about goals and all about the Breast Cancer Research Foundation and ways that we could get together virtually for an initiative called Beauty on the Move and raise some funds. And we set up some goals and we challenged. And if you guys follow us on social media, I'm sure you saw us out there walking, exercising, doing stuff for our health to help raise money for such an important cause, because although the world is different right now, we still need the funding to make sure that we keep moving forward, because cancer didn't disappear just because COVID showed up. And so here we are, and I am happy to talk about this spotlight today because Ulta Beauty raised over $3.3 million for Breast Cancer Research Foundation, which surpasses our company goal. Wanted to take a second and really celebrate and really recognize everybody that joined in. It was so fun to watch everybody virtually just engage. And so what a great way for all of our teams to get involved, rally together, push each other, get out there on the Beauty on the Move initiative and raise some funds for such a great cause. So BCRF, we love that we were able to take such a great part of this and have such a great partnership with you. And we're able to make such a great contribution. That was our spotlight of the day, and I couldn't let it pass up. So that's it for our show today. Radiant Reds. Halloween was just right around the corner. So what's coming up next? As I said, every Tuesday right after the show, we will do a follow-up show called After the Show. So tomorrow night on my Instagram, join me. We'll recap some top tips from today from our redheaded guests. But we will also be talking about and giving away the giveaways for those of you who've been engaging. So stay tuned to see if you won the prize. And then also next week on Monday, I will be on here with Miss Paquila Riley for an episode called Styles That Sparkle. Remember to follow us on Instagram at Unveiling Beauty Show and on our Ulta Beauty YouTube channel. Until next time, you guys, I'm Ammon Carver for Unveiling Beauty. See you later.